You know that feeling, right? So you wake up and the dream just clings to you. The emotions are still right there. The weirdness of it all feels kind of important. Maybe you had one this morning even, a really vivid scene, someone unexpected showing up. It's like you were actually somewhere else, doing something totally surreal. It's just,
Yeah.
it's a human thing, isn't it? This nightly show in our heads. But why? Like, what is the deal with dreaming? Seems like a pretty basic question about ourselves.
Oh, absolutely. And it's a question people have been asking forever. Philosophers, scientists, artists, everyone's fascinated. So yeah, in this deep dive, we're going to try and get into it. The mystery of why we dream. We'll look at the science, the psychology behind it, and maybe even touch on some of those ideas that are a bit harder to pin down.
Exactly. I mean, think about it. You're just lying there, seemingly still, quiet, but inside your head, it's like full-on narratives, strange people, intense feelings. One minute you're flying, the next you're somewhere you've never seen, feeling, I don't know, total joy or maybe real fear. It often makes no sense. It's bizarre. But when it's happening, feels completely real. So is it just random brain noise, the brain tidying up, or is it something deeper? Let's try and figure it out.
Okay, let's start with the science bit. The nuts and bolts we actually know. So the really vivid dreams, the ones with stories, they tend to happen in REM sleep, rapid eye movement sleep.
Right, REM.
Yeah, and like the name says, your eyes are moving around quickly behind your eyelids. But the really amazing thing, your brain activity looks almost exactly like it does when you're awake.
Really? That active?
Super active. But here's the kicker. While your brain is going a mile a minute,
Yeah.
your body's muscles are almost completely paralyzed.
No.
Yeah. And that paralysis is probably what stops us from, acting out these wild dream scenarios, running down the street or whatever. So think of REM sleep as the brain basically running its own high-def movie projector, creating these really immersive experiences. Sights, sounds, characters, the whole thing.
It's wild. Body still. Mind running these huge productions.
Yeah.
Okay. So we know when it happens, REM sleep, brain buzzing. But the big question is still why? And one big theory is about emotions, right? Dealing with feelings.
That's definitely a key area, yeah. The emotional processing theory. It basically suggests that dreams are kind of crucial for dealing with our feelings, especially the strong ones, stressful ones, maybe things we haven't quite dealt with.
Okay.
You could think of it like the brain sorting through the day's emotional baggage. So in a dream, maybe an event that made you anxious gets replayed, maybe fragmented, maybe mixed up with other stuff. The idea is this lets us process the emotional hit in a safer, maybe less direct way. So if you wake up feeling a bit anxious from a dream, could be your brain doing its overnight work, trying to diffuse that feeling a bit. It's not necessarily random static. It could be part of how we regulate our emotions.
Probably like that awkward conversation you had or
Yeah.
worrying about something. Your brain might be running simulations, like practicing how to feel about it. Almost like it's saying, okay, let's take this feeling, mess around with it here, where it's safe, look at it differently, and maybe it won't feel so huge when you're awake.
Exactly. That's a good way to put it. And tied into that, this active brain state during REM, another really interesting theory is that dreams are like a problem-solving space.
Problem solving. How so?
Well, you hear stories, right? People having breakthroughs in their sleep, like a writer suddenly gets a plot twist, or a musician hears a melody, a scientist sees a pattern they missed.
Yeah, I heard those.
Dreams seem to allow for a different kind of thinking. It's less
Hmm.
linear, less tied to strict logic,
Yeah.
more open to weird connections. So in that sense, maybe the dreaming mind is like a second brain, gives you a fresh angle on things you're stuck on. It's like when people say sleep on it, maybe that's your gut telling you to let the dreaming part of your brain have a go.
That's really cool. Like the usual mental rules are relaxed, letting strange ideas connect. But then there's also this other idea, more primal, like survival.
Precisely. The threat simulation theory. This one comes from an evolutionary angle. It suggests dreaming might have evolved to help us prepare for danger. By running through threatening situations, being chased, facing an attack, but in the safety of sleep.
Like a drill.
Kinda, yeah. Our brain could be rehearsing responses, keeping those fight or flight instincts sharp, so that intense fear you feel when you're running from something in a dream. Maybe that's leftover code from this old preparedness system.
That makes a lot of sense, actually, evolutionarily speaking. But what about the dreams that are just plain weird? Like, the hallway suddenly becomes an ocean, or you talk to your toaster. Where does that fit?
Ah, yeah, the weirdness factor. That's where the specific brain state in REM comes back in. During REM, the parts of your brain that handle logic, critical thinking, they're less active, dialed down.
Okay.
But areas linked to emotion, imagination, visual stuff, they're dialed up, much more dominant. And that neurological shift, that's probably why dreamscapes are often so surreal and illogical.
The logic police are off duty.
Exactly. The usual gatekeepers are taking a break. So the mind is free to make these bizarre leaps, mash things together in ways that just wouldn't fly when you're awake. So the hallway turning into an ocean, it's not necessarily some deep hidden meaning. It might just be your brain's altered state allowing for those fluid, random seeming shifts.
So the brain's editor is on a coffee break, letting the creative department go wild. But even with all that strangeness, dreams often feel really personal, like they're hitting on something true about us.
Oh, definitely. Despite the sometimes ridiculous plots, dreams can be incredibly revealing. They often tap into things we don't consciously think about when we're awake. Hidden worries, deep desires, maybe regrets, hopes.
In the dream world, it's like we take off the masks we wear every day. We feel things, want things much more rawly. Is that a word? It's unfiltered anyway. It's almost like our subconscious trying to talk to us, but using symbols and feelings instead of straightforward language. It bypasses our usual defenses.
Like our inner self gets the stage, no censorship allowed. Which makes you wonder, personally, why do you dream? Do your dreams seem to circle around certain feelings? Do they ever feel like messages, hints about something? Or do you just brush them off as random brain fireworks? It's worth thinking about, especially after a really vivid one.
It is, and recurring dreams add another layer, don't they? Psychologically, repeating themes falling, being chased, teeth falling out. That classic one are sometimes seen as signs. Maybe unresolved issues or ongoing anxieties your subconscious keeps flagging.
Right, the ones that keep coming back.
But it's important to say there's the other view, too, that even recurring dreams might just be, statistical noise. Patterns emerging from how the brain works during REM, not necessarily meaning anything specific or symbolic. Yeah, it's that constant back and forth, isn't it? Meaningful message or just brain mechanics. But whichever way you lean, you can't deny the impact dreams have. You can wake up feeling genuinely rattled or totally inspired or just plain confused by something that didn't even happen in real life.
Yeah.
They can stir up such strong feelings, longing, or bring back memories you thought were long gone.
Absolutely. And that's why actually engaging with dreams can be worthwhile. Keeping a dream journal, like you mentioned earlier, it sounds simple, but it can be really insightful.
So you're writing them down.
Yeah, even just fragments. You start seeing patterns maybe, recurring emotions, weird combinations that might tell you something about what's going on inside. It's like holding up a mirror, but it reflects the hidden bits of you.
And then you get into things like lucid dreaming. That's wild. Where you actually know you're dreaming while you're dreaming. And sometimes you could even control stuff.
Exactly. Lucid dreaming, it opens up this whole other dimension, really. People use it for all sorts. Exploration, just consciously checking out the dream world.
Wow.
Or for creativity. Using that space to play with ideas without real-world limits. There's even research looking at it for therapy. Facing fears, anxieties in a place you know is safe and you sort of control.
That's incredible.
It really blurs the line, doesn't it, between sleeping and waking consciousness. It makes you ask, when you're lucid, is it still just sleep? Or is it something more? A conscious experience in a different reality.
Which, yeah, that leads straight into the more mysterious side of dreaming. Because historically, like we said, lots of cultures saw dreams as much more than just brain stuff, like gateways to other places, other dimensions, maybe even connecting with souls.
Those beliefs are out there, that dreams can be a channel for messages, maybe from people who've passed on, or spirits, or just a deeper part of yourself. Now, scientifically, well, the evidence for that kind of thing is, let's say, lacking. But you can't just dismiss the experience, the feeling people have during those dreams, that sense of reality, the emotional power that's very real to them. And sometimes, how something feels can be more powerful for an individual than cold, hard facts.
And that kind of brings it back to you listening right now. Why did you tune into this? Why spend time thinking about dreams with us? Were you just curious about the science? Did you have a weird dream recently that stuck with you, made you look for answers? Maybe you're just drawn to the unknown parts of being human, that whole world that opens up when we sleep? Or maybe looking for something beyond just the science, a deeper sense of what it all means.
Whatever the reason, the fact you listened, you wondered about this stuff, that says something. It points to that basic human drive. Curiosity, that need to understand the world out there, and maybe even more, the complex world inside us. That's where all discovery starts, isn't it?
Yeah. So as you go about your day, or maybe as you're getting ready for sleep tonight, just remember that dream world. It's this space of Like infinite possibilities. Don't just shrug off those weird scenes or strong feelings. Pay a bit of attention to the stories your mind cooks up when your eyes are closed. Because
Maybe.
just maybe, your dreams are trying to tell you something.